I am excited for today's conversation. I am here with my friend, Kary Oberbrunner, and this is the first in a series of interviews that we're doing this year to bring, I would say, interesting or complex or mysterious subjects some light. And Kary's the person to shed some light on this gigantic topic called blockchain, which when I mention this to people, like their eyes kind of glaze over, or they go, yeah, don't know much about that, but it's such an important subject. So Kary, you have been my friend. You are an entrepreneur, a coach, a mentor, a best-selling author. You've written 12 books. You're a spouse, a father, and certainly my friend and someone who's helped me tremendously in the last year publish my book. I would say among my friends, you are one of the most diverse in terms of projects and passions. And so I think it's so cool. We could have you talk about a number of subjects today, but the one that we're going to focus on, and this is your second to most recent book, which is called Blockchain Life, Making Sense of the Metaverse, NFTs, cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, and Web3. And like I said to you earlier, we could spend a whole day on each of these subjects, but for today, we have 23 minutes to do this series for 2023, and you are first on the list. Wow. So I think the book's amazing, and I feel smarter for having read it because of the way you present it. So I'm hoping that you can make our listeners feel smarter at the end of this conversation today.
Awesome.
So where do you want to begin? I mean, I think, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, like there's so many things to define and create context. Why don't you begin?
Sure. So my parents are 70 years old, and I purposely wrote the book so that they would understand all the new things going on, because I care about them. And, I used to be a nonprofit leader, and I would have to lead a lot of different ages. And so I would always try to make things relevant and exciting and understandable. So what people need to know is that there's a new internet here. So many of us were not around, or we weren't aware when the first internet came. And I'm going to share a chart with everyone, because I'm a visual person. And if people can't see this because they're on the podcast, they can always get it from you or something like that.
Sure.
But what we really need to understand is that there's phases of the internet. And it's not like one day in 2004, we immediately switched from Web 1 to Web 2. But these are basically a shift that's happened. So you can imagine, Amy, that back with the first internet, we would surf the internet. And the internet was an activity that we would do, and it would take a dial-up phone. Remember those days?
Oh, I can hear the sound.
I can hear it too. And so think about it. You're at a desk, you're sitting down, you're probably tying up your phone line, you're going to the internet for information that's static. So I would say like, oh, I'm going to go to Domino's Pizza website. Why? Because it's faster than the Yellow Pages. Because with the Yellow Pages, I would have to call, and then I would have to ask them what their deals are. So now I can at least go online and see a menu. But you can see that on the left side of this chart, there's all these different components that define the Web 1 experience. Then you shift into Web 2, and all of a sudden now it's like, whoa, we have mobile internet. So now, Amy, one of my books called Unhackable talks about how we are just being disrupted and distracted, and other books certainly have talked about that too. But now all of a sudden I'm talking to Amy, but I'm physically here, but I'm actually not engaged because I'm on my phone. Okay, so now the internet really became mobile, and it would travel with us. And it was something where we could go online and offline very quickly. And we would it's called switch tasking, not even multitasking. It's called switch tasking. And all the research shows that you have decision fatigue, you have attention fatigue. So I'm here, but I'm there, but I'm here, but I'm there. And therefore my awareness and productivity, and actually they've done research, and it's that you are dumber than being stoned when you're switch tasking. Okay. So now we have this, like, I'm always on or am I off? And they actually had this term called digiphrenia instead of schizophrenia, where you have stress and anxiety because, wait, I'm on LinkedIn right now. Wait, I'm on TikTok. And there's multiple people and profiles that are existing at the same time, and it's you. Then we go into Web3, and Web3 is this whole other internet where Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, now Meta, literally says it's an embodied internet. So it's an internet that you don't just view, you actually experience, and you can change the outcome. How? Through virtual reality goggles, or Apple's coming out with some supposedly in Q1 23, maybe Q2, maybe Q3, but it's AR, augmented reality. The difference is that with VR, I'm totally shut off from the rest of the world and I'm in my own world. With AR, I have goggles, glasses here. I would literally be able to be talking to Amy, but on the left-hand side, I would see she went to school here. She runs this company. She has this many followers. I could see that you have had success with this certification. In other words, they call it physical and digital blending. Okay, so there's a lot of new words here. So now let's get into blockchain then, because blockchain is the railroads for how the new Web3 internet will run. Okay,
as opposed to what?
Okay, so everybody here knows what a ledger is. And if they don't know, all they need to go to is their bank statement. The bank statement is a ledger that basically says this transaction happened and this was the result. Okay. Now, Chase or more, whatever, Fifth Third or whatever bank you use, they can mess it up. Okay. And it's what's called a centralized ledger. Okay. In financial arenas. Blockchain is a distributed ledger. And what that means is that nobody owns it, just like the internet. Okay, so nobody owns this digital ledger. And you might say, well, wait, how is it, how come there's not bad actors then? One hacker can take down Chase. One hacker cannot take down blockchain.
Why?
And here's why. Because the ledger is not in one place or one server. It's represented in millions of computers all over the world.
Okay.
So to hack the blockchain, you would literally need to hack 51% of the computers in the world.
Okay.
And you might say, well, that's possible, Kary, but here's what they would have to do. They would have to hack it. And then a blockchain is simply a block of information that's been verified and validated and then distributed to 51% of the computers in the world. So for them to hack it, they'd have to then hack it and change back all the blocks previously that are represented on nodes all over the world. So it's not like, oh, they would just have to hack it once. They'd have to hack it and then go back and back and back and back and hack it again. So it's impossible. Now,
okay, you're using words that some
Yeah.
people may have not heard of before, right?
That's
These are
right.
all a lot of new vocabulary.
Yeah.
So let's use when you helped me publish my book, Confetti Moments.
Yep.
One of the things I said is, should we trademark this?
Yep.
And you said yes, and it should be on the blockchain.
Yep.
I had no idea what you meant, but
Yep.
could you explain that as like a tangible example?
Yeah. So believe it or not, in 45 minutes, I have the biggest talk of my life. I'm speaking to a Congress Commission panel for the United States Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO, on how digital assets which is the trendy term is called NFTs. We'll talk about that in a moment, how it's shifting intellectual property. So let me give you an example. Right now, for me to go say that I trademarked Smoothie King, okay? Okay, and by the way, Smoothie King, you can see like almost everything in the world is IP. Well, guess what? You know what's wrong about this, Amy? On a Mac, you can do this by hitting, I think it's Command R or Option R.
Right.
So it's like, whoa, hold on. You're telling me that intellectual property, and what I want your listeners to realize is intellectual property is the most valuable asset on the planet. And I'll tell you why. The S&P 500, okay, so this is the most valuable companies in the world. In 1975, a year before I was born, 17% of the S&P 500 was in intangible assets,
Sure.
patents, copyright, trademark. The other 83% was land, cash,
Building.
inventory, bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what happened now in the last 40 some years? 90%.
Is IP.
90% of the S&P 500 is IP, which means that my iPhone is not so much the parts and pieces, it's the IP that makes this up.
Sure.
So now you say, okay, the most important thing then is protecting that IP. Like if the S&P 500 says 90% of assets are intangible, then protecting those would be the most important thing. Well, here's why blockchain is so powerful. I can lie to you because all IP is built on first to file and first to use. So I can say to you, hey, I came up with that. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Is this Purell? I don't know. Is it Purell? Purell. Okay. Sorry. It's my wife's office. But oh, see, they got a little R there. Okay. So I can say to you, wait, I came up with that, Amy. And you might say, well, prove it. And then I'd have to go and like find papers and maybe like a billboard where I put it on. And it would take very long and a lot of friction and a lot of lawyers and a lot of money. With what we did with Confetti Moments is we took your book and we minted it on the blockchain. Now, all that means for your people to just bring it down to super bottom cookie shelf level here.
Basic.
We uploaded it.
Okay.
All we did was we uploaded it to the blockchain. And when you do that, here's what you do. This is where all these technologies come together. You use a little bit of crypto to do this. I'm talking pennies. I'm not talking this cost a ton of money. But here's what I want people to realize. We used the railroad of the blockchain. We used crypto to mint it or pay for it. When we minted it, it created a smart contract code.
Okay.
And the code then got sent to 51%, actually, all the computers in the world that are on the blockchain. We're talking like all over the world, big people, small people, companies, independent people. It got validated and verified. And then here's the most important piece. It got time-stamped.
Right.
Because the moment you create a smart contract, forever, and it's called, the fancy word is called immutable. It means that forever and ever and ever, it cannot be changed. And if I changed it, it would show to all the other computers, somebody's changed it.
Got it.
And then again, it would not only say somebody, would say, here's their wallet. And it would give the wallet address, which is essentially their social security number. I mean, think about it that way.
Okay.
And so now when people say, whoa, crypto is for bad people, it's for bad actors, it's for, actually, the insiders love it because you can fake dollar bills everywhere. Oh my gosh, this is not trackable, but everything on the blockchain is trackable.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can actually go right back and say, Amy minted Confetti Moments on September 25th, 9:57 a.m.
Right.
And here's the smart contract. And forever and ever and ever, she was the first to file, because that's a filing of a smart contract is like you filing it, and it's the first to use. And that's what all IP is built on.
And if you can just explain, so minting something on the blockchain, time stamping it compared to filing a patent or going through a trademark process, the time it
Oh
takes.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. I right now am filing a patent because we've made this process so incredible that we want a patent on it. And I will tell you, you want a patent for two reasons. First of all, it's a nuclear weapon for IP. So you don't always need, like, we don't need to spend $20,000 to mint your IP.
Okay.
That's how much a patent costs. And get this, and I know because I wrote the check for Easy IP. It takes 3 years and a lot of lawyers. Yep. And then get this, 80% plus get rejected. And then you have to go back and work with the lawyer. They quick modify and change and tweak and then file it again.
And so
it's friction.
And a ton of friction. And so how long does it take to mint my book on the blockchain?
60 seconds, if you know what you're doing. Now,
okay.
Now we had to develop a process. We say 24 hours.
So 24 hours versus 3 years, and not 20 grand.
$100.
Right.
And $100 is because we want to do it right. And we want to set you up with, so what we do, this is the coolest thing in the world, Amy. I'm going to show people their first NFT ever. Okay. So what's so cool about this? Like, do you take your smartphone everywhere?
Everywhere.
Do you take a filing cabinet with your patent everywhere?
No.
No. So what I'm saying is, like, this is why I started with Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. So MetaMask, that little fox,
yep,
it is called a digital wallet. And technically people have digital wallets. They have, this is what I want people to realize, like, your plane ticket is technically an NFT, a digital asset. It's just not tied to the blockchain. Now, here's what I mean by that. We have digital assets everywhere. Starbucks just announced that their new loyalty program is going to be NFTs, non-fungible tokens. All that means is that it's a one of one. When I have a plane ticket, I have row G, seat 4, this time, this date. That's technically a non-fungible token. It's a digital asset. It's just not on the blockchain, which means that it's now protected and verifiable and this type of thing. But we've been doing NFTs. You go to concerts. If I earn stars on my Starbucks, but anyway, let me show you this really quick. So you press this button. MetaMask it's saying, what's your face? So I got to look at it, right? So now it opens up, and now it's opening up the little fox, right? And what it's doing is it's showing you my digital wallet.
Ah, interesting.
This is my digital wallet, and look at all the things I can do. I can receive, buy, send. Now watch this. If I click NFTs, you're going to see my latest book, Poetry is the Portal. It's loaded, and it actually has the NFT that's going to pop up. There it is. So there's the NFT.
Yep.
And that NFT is, nobody else in the world has it. Nobody else in the world can ever have it. It's in my digital wallet. The only way anybody can get it is if I send it to them. And all currency is based on scarcity. All value is based on scarcity. So now, instead of saying, well, wait, an NFT is just a JPEG, it's just a picture. That's how it was before blockchain. But now after blockchain, if things are minted on the blockchain, you can actually verify that you're the only person who owns that, or you're one of 5 in the world.
So it's time stamping an item or a piece of art or a piece of work. And
someday, diplomas, marriage license, real estate license. I mean, literally, you can turn anything into an NFT. And what I want to show people really quick, this is super cool, because this will help people realize what
tell me if in reading your book and thinking about this, it sounds to me like it makes the item more legitimate.
It is.
Right? If I had a diploma from
Mhm.
high school from a long time ago, that's a
Yep.
piece of paper or a copy of a piece of paper, you know, you could question the legitimacy of it. But if
Yep.
it's an NFT diploma,
Yep.
time stamped from 1980, whatever,
Yep.
then there's some real legitimacy to that.
I'm going to show you. Yeah, because now we're getting into the question of use case. Like, how is this even useful, Kary? Let me just give you a couple quick use cases.
That'd be great.
Think about blockchain as trust. Literally, there's a blockchain called a book called The Truth Machine. I
Okay.
thought that was a great title. And that's what we're really talking about. When the housing market happened, when Corona happened, when the elections happened, depending, I don't even care where you stand on any of those things. I'm just saying that we now live in a world of deep fakes and fake
Mm.
news, whatever side you're on, which means that you don't know if something's real. Now, watch this. I've never met her in person, but I met her on Zoom. And LinkedIn right now, a lot of people don't realize this, but LinkedIn has an integrated technology that shows, watch this, with the blockchain, that she actually earned this. You ready? So
Ready.
if I click this and I say, did she really earn this badge? If I hit verify badge, watch this, it's saying issuing and it's connecting it to the blockchain and it says verified. So
Instantly,
instantly.
instantly.
And here's another one that actually uses the word blockchain, I believe. So I can say, okay, did she really earn this? It says so on what day. Now I can hit verify. Look at that blockchain right there. And it's actually
Incredible.
going back and saying, yep, there was the contract. She really earned it.
And so would companies use this to verify employment information? So
Everything.
everything.
Everything. Did they go to that school? Did they earn that credential? Did they really keep up with their CEUs, continuing education units? Is this person really married? Is this person, you know, do they really own that house? Think about, you remember signing all the papers, the 40,000 papers that you sign? Now, all of a sudden, you use blockchain. I could one day, check this out. I could one day walk into a house, not even walk into a house. I could put on my AR goggles or VR goggles. I could tour the house and I could be like, I love this house. And then literally I could open up my digital wallet and I could make an offer and they could verify that I'm, you know, validated with a certain certification, like pre-certified. And I just go and I hit, I want it. And then they could hit transfer the title
Jeez.
with my MetaMask wallet, and all of a sudden I own the house. Is
It
that
makes
crazy or what?
well, it you know when you start to think about these concepts, right? And you know your eyes glaze over like I don't really get it, but
Yeah.
when you explain it and then in reading the book, it actually feels so much simpler than
Yes.
how it used to be.
Oh yeah. We have
Simpler,
so much friction.
faster, and more accurate.
Yeah. I just I'm going to teach adjunct digital marketing at a university. Do you know what they're doing? They're like, okay, Kary, you got to come in 3 days before you start teaching. You have to get a notarized something or other. You have to come, you have to have a meeting, you have to drive an hour from your, like, friction. And we know from Uber that disruption and happens when there's friction. If you can do better, cheaper, easier, faster. So I think your financial planner friends are at an amazing spot right now where literally, what is this, $9.99 digitally? Like for $10, they can read this and there's lots of charts and graphs. And oh yeah, you mentioned at the end of each chapter, there's this QR code that they scan. What happens when they scan that little bonus?
You go right to a video. I mean, I was saying like reading the book and then you scan it, then I'm already in an additional video for extra content. Like the book itself feels like a technologically savvy experience.
Cool.
It's so interesting.
That's cool. So I feel like your financial planners can actually be massively cutting edge just by being comfortable with the vocabulary. So when somebody's like, hey, What about NFTs? You're not like, what the crap's an NFT and what are you saying? Like, I actually give you word pictures and I say an NFT is like a ticket. It's like a digital ticket and it's a one of one. And by the way, if I go to Ticketmaster and buy a ticket, I can transfer that thing to another holder if I can't make the event.
And there's only one ticket for that one seat, which is why it's
Yes.
unique. Yep.
Yeah. And the only thing that we've added is blockchain, which then adds like massive, so you don't get scammed and frauded and stuff like that.
And so think about financial advisors, right? But the people that I coach and our clients who could be anyone, right? Entrepreneurs, business owners, successful people. Can you just think of an example or two of where financial advisors would see the blockchain being useful in our industry?
Yeah. So I would challenge an advisor to say, imagine if you needed wet signatures like you did pre-2000.
Yep.
So prior to 2000, in the United States, you had to do a wet signature.
Yep.
They came up with a law that said digital signatures carry the same weight. I have a financial advisor. Everything's changed because of that. They can literally send me secure document. I go read it. I press a sign now or a click now. It certifies electronically and business happens so much faster.
Right.
So what you could do is you could, and you know the financial world a lot more than me, but what they're doing now is they're fractionalizing real estate. So what I mean by that is like, one example is I want to be an owner of that Hilton hotel. And I want you to, as my financial advisor, to help me. Okay. In the past, I had to buy the whole hotel. Now what they can do is they can take that hotel, fractionalize it, which means that they break it into like stocks.
Sure.
And the stocks are represented as NFTs.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So now through the power of an NFT, and watch this for loyalty and engagement. Imagine everyone who rented that, became a part owner of that Hilton, gets an NFT, and at the front gate, they just open up their MetaMask wallet and say, great, one of the perks of owning it is I get 2 nights in the president's suite per year. Now I can use it with my spouse, or I can say, you know what, I don't want that. I'm going to resell it. Here's another thing. All NFTs have the ability to put in a smart contract. And a smart contract is this. It means it's self-executing, which means you don't need people to say, yeah, that happened and that happened. So literally, this is crazy, Amy, but literally there are utility companies in the world that are saying, I don't use all my internet. And so I'm going to sell back to the internet company the days where I'm in France so that they can resell it to my neighbors and I actually earn money.
Incredible.
Okay. So like it's blowing. Like here's one more example really quick. And you might say, well, how does this work with financial people? You guys are the smart people in your world. You'll know how it happens. This is how people are using blockchain every day. Quick example. In your tax paying city, you might be like, oh my gosh, I'm messing up my car because of potholes. I hate it. Guess what? They've created an app where when you drive over the pothole, you press pothole. They know that your digital wallet is tied to you as your taxpayer. You press a button, it goes and tells the asphalt people, all because of blockchain and NFTs, that taxpayer just said that there's a pothole. Go and dispatch the asphalt. Someday it'll be drones. But then they go repair it, and the money is taken to pay the asphalt people through the account for that city. You see what I'm saying? Like now,
endless. The possibilities are endless.
it is, and this is where you as financial planners, you'll know so much more like how this affects accredited investors that then have an NFT that then can go get deals faster. They don't have to like, you guys know your world. I just know blockchain.
The verifying process is so much cleaner, faster, easier, more efficient.
Yeah, if I call my tax person or my financial planner, they're like, you cannot leave trades on this phone, blah, you know, like I don't know, like I could lose money or I could know a tip. Now I can literally log in and the blockchain verifies that that's really my wallet. I really do want the deal. Like, I think that the
Right.
financial planners who get on this sooner are actually going to be massively better. I told my sister in real estate this years ago. I'm like, look, here's what's coming. And she started to become aware. And then sure enough, all these real estate people started talking about what's coming and fractionalized real estate. And she's now in the know.
Thank you for this. And I think, bottom line for those of us in our industry, it's really important. Hey, any industry, but certainly in our financial planning industry, to be relevant, to
Yeah.
not have eyes glaze over when you hear a concept like blockchain, but to actually have some knowledge about it.
Yeah.
So you've kind of opened up the door to this subject today. I think we should all read the book. And I guess my last question for you, Kary, is what do you want readers to take away from reading this book?
I want them to overcome their fear, because when we don't know about something, we read headlines and we're like, oh, FTX, wait, everything's wrong. Or some people think crypto is blockchain. It's not. But crypto needs blockchain, but
Yep.
blockchain is agnostic. Blockchain is being used in the medical field. It's being used with prescriptions. It's being used all over the place. Crypto gets a bad name because of a volatile market. But I want your financial people to realize that, like, I think the best analogy is blockchain is a railroad.
Okay.
And you can put on those carts bad things and good things. But I think there's a lot of good things.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Read Blockchain Life. It is an easy read for a pretty complex subject, and you do an excellent job with it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.